At the end of the 19th century, around 1893, Emil Kraepelin, I'm starting with him because he is the first person to bring empirical science to the study of madness. So he is the first to actually study hundreds and hundreds of actual cases of madness, which leads him to distinguish between these two categories of madness: illnesses of the intellect and illnesses of the emotions. The former he refers to as dementia precox, which you may not have heard of, but I'm sure you've heard of schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, and so on. So that's the category that we're talking about over here on the side of the intellect. On this side, he refers to as manic depressive psychosis. Now this, I'm sure, is a more familiar term, right? Manic depression is a familiar idea, I'm sure, to most of you. Now what's interesting is that, of course, psychosis is common between the two and makes it very difficult to distinguish whether the emotions have control of the intellect, you see? Or the intellect has control over the, well, it's a little more difficult to say exactly where the emotions, well, let's just say generally kind of, I think that will do for now. So this Kraepelinian dichotomy, as it was called, is an excellent example of what we were talking about earlier, the problem with the either or, right? Between the intellect and the emotions. Of course, what we're interested in today primarily is on this side of the equation. Illnesses of the emotions, which we are commonly referred to today as mood disorders. All right, now, under the category of the mood disorder, I'm sure you're familiar with some of these terms. You have mania, and of course depression. Depression, which is maybe, for me, a little bit hard to sort of visualize, but let me see if I can, let's see. Yeah, I think that'll do. Okay, so mania and depression, of course, are well, they're not new ideas in the 19th century. Not at all. They've actually been around for a very long time. We'd have to go much further back. I think we have to go back. Here we are, and some of you, I know, this is going to take you way back. Right. Oops. There we go. All right, now, so we were talking about mania and depression, which in the time I'm going to be referring to is known as melancholy. We are referring, of course, to the ancient Greek period, when it was believed that madness was caused generally by external forces of some kind, by gods, people being possessed, and so on.